You are listening to the Calm Mom podcast. It's Michelle Grosser here. Good to be with you guys today. Today we're going to talk about some ways in which we can release stress and anxiety from the body. Here's the thing. Most of us, maybe even all of us, experience stress and maybe even anxiety on the daily. So we want to also have practices daily to help us release and process that stress, that tension from our bodies so we're not holding on to that, right? Before we jump into it, if you have not yet left the Calm Mom podcast a 5-star rating or a short review, would you do so today? It would mean so much to me. It's truly the best way that you can thank me. If you've ever gotten anything out of this podcast, if you've ever learned anything, if it's ever helped in any way, man, just taking a few seconds to leave a 5-star rating and maybe even a short review, just a one-liner, something you've learned, something that resonated, something that you've enjoyed, I would just be so grateful. And the reason why is because when the show gets more 5-star ratings and short reviews, it helps it get in front of other women who need this information, other moms just like us who need tools to help them learn how to regulate their nervous system. So if you haven't done so yet, if today could be the day, you just take, 15, 20 seconds, leave the show a 5-star rating and a short review. Y'all, I would be so grateful. Okay, so let's jump in. I want to give you guys 7 ways today that you can release stress and anxiety from your body. But before we jump into it, let's talk a little bit about what happens in our body when we experience stress and anxiety, because I think it's important for us to kind of have that foundational understanding before we jump into some of the more tactical, practical handles today. So here's the thing. Our brain has obviously evolved over time. In some ways, it has evolved in such powerful, beautiful ways. In some ways, it is still kind of lagging behind. And as far as perceiving threats, that is something that our brain is not particularly good at, right? Our nervous system's primary responsibility, its priority always is going to be our safety and security, right? The job of our nervous system is to keep us safe. It's for our survival, right? So that we can keep an eye out for anything that might be a threat and we can respond to it appropriately so we can continue being. Now, thousands of years ago, there were real threats to our safety, right? We were like being chased by wild animals or whatever it was. But now today, it's not very often that we are faced with actual threats to our physical safety, right? It's more often that, there's stress when it comes to finances or relationships or our health or our children or our mental load or our job or all the things that we're holding. And it's not so much that these are imminent threats to our physical safety, but our nervous system still perceives them as threats to safety. And our body responds in the same way as if it was an actual physical threat to our safety, right? An actual physical danger. So it's like, no body, I'm not being chased by a lion. This is just an email from my coworker or my boss, right? It's not an actual threat to our safety, but our brain's not good at distinguishing that. So it responds in the same way. So here's what happens. When our nervous system perceives some sort of threat, it prompts this physiological response in our body. So the first thing is that our brain tells our body to start releasing stress hormones, right? Start releasing the chemicals that are going to prepare the body for fight or flight because there is a threat and we have to be able to respond accordingly. So then our body starts to release things like cortisol and adrenaline, right? It diverts our blood supply to our extremities so that we can run or we can fight. And there's a physiological response in our body, right? Our muscles become more tense so that we can go ahead and move like we have to. I mean, what happens when we are startled, right? Or when we feel scared or stressed, like everything tenses. So our body tenses. Now, I think it's important when we talk about this to distinguish between the stressor itself and then the stress that it causes on our body. So the stressor is the thing that's stressing us out, right? Let's say that we have some, some big like public speaking thing, some event that we have to speak publicly at, and that is a stressor. So that in and of itself is causing us stress, right? But now that we know that our body has a physiological response to stress, it's not just in our head, right? There's actually a physical manifestation of stress. in our body when we are anticipating this stressful event, right? Publicly speaking, we're preparing for it. We have things going on in our head. We're feeling nervous. That causes a stress on our body. Those stress hormones are released, right? Our breathing might change. Our heart might race. Our muscles might tense. There might be tension in our throat, so we speak differently, right? There's things going on in our brain. Our lizard brain is kind of on mode, right? We're in a survival response, and our prefrontal cortex, we might not have access to all of those higher faculties, and we might jumble our words because there's an impact on our body because of that stressor. Now, you go, you give your speech, you deliver it, you crush it. The next day, that stressor has passed, right? It's dissipated, it's in the rearview mirror, you're done with it. But all of that stress on your body, all those hormones that were released, right? Those stress chemicals, the tension in your muscles, all of that different stress in your body, if you're not able to release and discharge that, it will have implications, right? You will start to notice symptoms of that stored stress and anxiety and whatever it is that you're not discharging. So we experience stress on the daily. We've got to have practices that we use daily to close that stress cycle, to signal safety to the body, and then really deal with and release stress and tension from our body daily. So that's what I want to give you guys today. We're going to go through 7 ways that you can release stress and anxiety from your body. Yeah, you guys don't overthink this. These are super simple. They're super quick practices that help you release stress and tension. I went through 7 where I find that most people that I work with tend to hold stress in their body. So we're kind of going to start from the top and work our way down your body, kind of like a body scan. If you're able, i.e. if you're not driving or like walking or you're somewhere where you can move or close your eyes, feel free to do these with me in real time as I explain them. Obviously, if you're driving or doing something where you can't really move your body right now, you can always, save this episode and then come back to it and go through it in real time as I'm explaining it. Okay, so the first one is the first way that you can release stress and anxiety from your body is to help your body release tension around your eyes. We spend so much time staring at screens all day, right? We're furrowing our brow when we're focused. Maybe we're squinting. We tend to store a ton of stress and tension in our eye muscles, all those muscles around our eyes. I mean, even think of those 11 lines, right between your eyebrows, like from furrowing your brow. That's from stress, right? We furrow our brow when we're stressed out. So 2 things I really love for releasing tension around our eyes. The first one is really just kind of giving yourself an eyebrow massage, but you're kind of like pinching and squeezing your eyebrows. So just take your thumb and your pointer finger and then kind of pinch your eyebrows. Just kind of giving them a gentle squeeze and kind of massaging around them. You can start on the inside of your eyebrows, like kind of have your fingers touching and on the inside, like kind of by the top of your nose, just squeezing along the length of your eyebrows and feeling those muscles as they're massaged, as they're kind of squeezed, releasing tension, right? You can massage your temples, you can massage around your hairline. That usually feels really good. And then after this, I just love to allow all those eye muscles to relax and kind of just be. And my favorite way to do this is you start by rubbing your hands together. So imagine that you were like somewhere cold and you're rubbing your hands together really quick to create some friction and some heat so you could stay warm. So you can go ahead and do that now and just kind of like rub your hands together until they're warm. And then you're going to put the palms of your hands gently over your eyes. And if you're able, like I need to take my glasses off to do that, go ahead and do that. And then if you're sitting, you could actually like kind of lean back in your chair and just keep the warm palms of your hands laid gently over your eyes for a moment. And just stay there, maybe 30 seconds or a minute. Allow yourself to relax. Allow yourself, your muscles around those eyes to relax. It's dark. You're not moving anything around, and just allow yourself to just be in that moment for a second and let all of those muscles kind of melt, loosen, and relax around your eyes. So that's the first one. The second one is to loosen a clenched jaw. So many of us hold stress and anxiety in our jaw. Maybe you guys notice that you tend to clench your jaw, especially when you're sleeping, right? Maybe you grind your teeth at night. Maybe your dentist has commented on this, or you just wake up with like a sore jaw and you notice. Maybe you even have to wear a mouth guard or a night guard at night, right? When you're sleeping because of how often you clench or grind your teeth. So often when I see this, this is a sign that there's some need that you have that you're not expressing, something that needs to be said that you're suppressing. There's something that's wanting to come out that you're holding in. And it's showing up in all of this jaw clenching because your body is doing everything to keep all of that suppressed so you don't just explode, right? Not expressing your needs, not expressing frustration, anger, resentment, all of these different things. When we tend to suppress our needs, suppress our emotions, that really often shows up as a clenched jaw. So how do we go about releasing that tension, releasing that stress, releasing the tension in our jaw that comes from having anxiety sometimes? Well, let's just release it, right? It's super simple. Let's just stretch it out. So first, if your tongue is pressed to the roof of your mouth, let it come back down now. Let your mouth soften, right? Your jaw can even kind of hang and fall open. And then what you can do is really just stretch those muscles out. So you can open your mouth as wide as you can, stick your tongue out as far as you can, and just like let out any noises that seem like they want to come through. Sometimes it feels like a sigh, sometimes it feels like a groan, and really just stretch everything out. You can move your jaw side to side. You can move your jaw forward and back, kind of like you have an underbite. Move your lips all around, right? Stretch your lips out, purse them, stretch them wide, make all the silly faces. And then the next thing you can do is you can take your hands right to your jaw, kind of that joint where your jaw moves to open and close your mouth, and just massage it with your hands. You can massage it while you're gently opening and closing your mouth, whatever feels good. And if you notice your jaw clenching, like you're someone who clenches, especially overnight, you guys can do this first thing in the morning, right? Stretch it out, open it up, massage it, stick your tongue out. You can do this multiple times a day. You can do it while you're, cooking. You can do it while you're driving, really helping those muscles to release all of that stress and tension that they're holding. Number three is releasing tension in your neck. I know for me, that's where I tend to hold my stress. That's where I tend to hold my anxiety. My neck and shoulders tense right up. I tend to get neck pain for years from maybe even like middle school or high school, especially until my early to mid 20s. I had such bad chronic neck pain. Like I'd be that girl who always had a pinched nerve in my neck. It was like all stiff, unable to turn around, right? I was always going to the chiropractor. I was like trying to get massages when I could. I even missed school. Like I remember missing high school because of my neck pain. And at that time, I didn't really understand what was going on. But now that I have a better understanding of our nervous system and how our body stores stress and anxiety, I know that it was that's what was going on, right? I know it was stress. I know it was anxiety that I wasn't dealing with. So if you're someone who also experiences like a tight neck pain, tension in that area, go ahead and bring your hands to your neck and just start gently massaging the areas that feel tense and tight. Again, this is super simple, you guys. Just go ahead, maybe even stretch it out, do some big neck circles, maybe do 5 clockwise and then do 5 counterclockwise. You could even pause the podcast and do that now. Just bringing your hands and connection to that area, just bringing your focus and your intention to your neck as you're doing neck circles. That awareness and that intention in and of itself will help your body regulate. It'll help you release and it'll help you open up that space in your neck so you're not so tense, you're not bracing so much in that space in your body. So that's the third one. The fourth one is our shoulders, lowering our shoulders. I think so often our neck and our shoulders are tied, right? Those muscles are grouped together. I know for me, when my neck feels tense, it often affects my shoulders also. One of my favorite ways to release and discharge stress, anxiety, tension from my body is through something called progressive muscle relaxation. And how it works is you just choose a muscle group. I usually do my upper body and then I'll do my lower body, but you can isolate it even further than that if you wanted. Like you could do just your face or just your neck and your shoulders or just your arms or just your hands or whatever it is. But let's just focus on your top half right now. So we're going to focus on your face, your neck, and your shoulders. And this is how it works. I usually do it like this with my clients. On the count of 3, you're going to tense every single muscle in your face and your neck and your shoulders. And you're going to hold that tension, right? You're going to squeeze your eyes shut, squeeze your mouth shut, squeeze every muscle in your neck, bring your shoulders up by your ears and squeeze, 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 and clench every muscle, neck, face, and shoulders, and hold it tight, tight, tight until I say release. And then you kind of stretch, open everything up. Do that a few times, and that's a really powerful way to release stress and tension from your body. So we can try it together now. Again, if you're able, if you can safely close your eyes, obviously participate. And if you can't, just wait. All right, on the count of 3, you're going to close your eyes, squeeze everything in your face, neck, and shoulders, and hold it until I say release. You ready? 3, 2, 1. Squeeze, 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 tight, 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 hold, 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 squeeze, 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 tight, 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 and release. Good. Take a deep breath and go ahead and stretch that out. Stretch your neck, stretch your shoulders, stretch your mouth, open everything back up. A couple of those neck circles usually feel good here. Make sure that you're breathing. And man, just do that again 3 or 4 times, and you'll notice how much stress and tension is released from your upper half after this super simple exercise. So that's 4. Number 5 is your chest. So often when we are experiencing stress, when we are experiencing anxiety, it can feel like a weight on our chest, right? Our breathing becomes really shallow. It's almost like uncomfortable to take a deep breath. So doing so, releasing stress and anxiety through our breath can be a really powerful practice. So I want to give you guys 2 breaths that are really helpful, I think, in releasing stress and anxiety from our chest space, our heart space here. The first one is called a physiological breath. You guys have heard me talk about this all the time because it's my personal favorite. It works wonders for my nervous system and helping me feel calm and shift from anxiety and stress to a place that feels more regulated for me. So here's how it works. You're going to breathe in through your nose, and you're going to breathe in as deeply as you can until it feels like your lungs are at capacity. You're as full of air as you can get. And then right on the top of that breath, when you've reached the peak, you do one more quick inhale through your nose. So breathe in through your nose, in, 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 in. When you get to the top of your breath, one more quick inhale through your nose, and then you release it through your mouth. Slow, long exhale through your mouth as though you were breathing out through a straw. That's a physiological breath. And if you guys do that, usually it just takes 2 or 3 times. You're going to notice a shift in the state of your nervous system, especially if you extend that exhale long and slow. Just imagine everything melting away, your shoulders coming down, everything kind of releasing on that exhale. This is a really powerful breath. And then the other one I want to talk to you guys about is called box breathing. And this is a really simple breath. You just imagine a square, right? Like a square box, equal sides. So you can start with a count of 4. It doesn't really matter what your count is, but all counts are going to be even because this is a square with 4 equal sides. So along the top of the box, imagine a dot or something kind of going across the top of the box. That's going to be your in-breath. So you're going to go in, 2, 3, 4, and then down the box, you're going to hold 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. And you just keep going along that box, right? Inhale, hold, exhale, hold. All even counts. And you keep doing that for maybe 30 seconds, 45 seconds, a minute and a half until you notice a shift and the state of your nervous system. Maybe you'll yawn, maybe you'll sigh. Those are usually good indicators that your body is shifting back to regulation. Okay, so that's number 5 in our chest. Let's keep going. Number 6, your stomach. We can hold so much stress, so much tension in our stomach, right? Our gut is called our second brain for a reason. There's so many nerve endings there. So it's often, so often when we're feeling anxiety, when we're feeling stress, our gut is the first thing to be impacted. It affects our appetite, right? It affects our gut health, our digestion. We start to have things like IBS or gas or just like bloating or that pit in our stomach, right? So one way that we can help release stress and anxiety from our stomach area is through swaying. So swaying is so regulating to our body. And the way you do it is just what it sounds like. We've probably all seen our kids just intuitively do this, but you can do it if you're standing. If your chair allows, you can do it sitting. Just let your arms kind of hang loose by your side, and then you keep yourself planted. So keep your feet planted or keep your hips planted if you're seated. And then you're just kind of turning your torso to the right and then to the left and letting your arms just kind of hang and sway from side to side as you're doing this. And man, if you do that, you can close your eyes and breathe while you're doing it. Do that for a minute and a half. You're going to start noticing that your stomach tension will kind of move and dissipate as you bring regulation to your nervous system. And then finally, number 7 is releasing stress and anxiety and tension from our hips. Man, our hips and our psoas muscles, those are the muscles that kind of connect your lower half of your body to our upper half of our body. Those are some of the largest muscles in our body. And you guys, they are the first to kind of tense when we're feeling stress and when we're feeling anxiety. And we don't help it because we spend so much time sitting, right? So all that stress, all that tension in our psoas muscles, all of that anxiety, it just kind of gets stuck there in our hips in rigidity and tightness. We become inflexible. We might even experience hip pain because there's so much tension stored in those muscles and we don't move them. We spend so much time sitting. So a great thing you can do for hip tension is a supine psoas stretch. So here's how it works. You lie on your back. You guys can imagine this. It's pretty simple. If you can't do it right now, lie on your back on a comfortable surface, and then just go ahead and kind of bring your knees up toward your chest, like kind of squeezing your knees in toward your chest. And then you're just going to kind of like slowly bicycle your legs, right? Maybe you've done this when you were doing like ab exercises, but for this one, you're not doing a crunch, right? This isn't an ab exercise. So just leave your head, your neck all the way on the floor. But you're going to kind of bicycle your legs. So one knee in, one leg extends straight. The other knee comes in as the other leg extends straight. And you're just keeping the knee that you're holding close to your chest and then gently lowering that extended leg to the floor as you go back and forth. And you're doing this slowly. You're doing this gently. You're doing it in like a really lazy way. This is not meant to like increase your heart rate and be a workout. This is really meant to be slow and gentle. Just simple movement to allow your hips and those muscles to open up. And you should kind of feel a stretch in the front of your hip, like kind of the front of your thigh of that extended leg, that long leg. And you can do it so slowly where you're like holding your knee and with one leg extended for maybe 20, 30, 40 seconds, and then slowly shifting to the other, whatever feels good and supportive for you where you're getting a stretch. So if you want to do it super slow, like a minute each, awesome. If you want to go a little more quickly, 15, 20, 30 seconds, that's great too. Whatever feels like you're getting a stretch there. So breathe deeply as you do it, kind of allow that tension to release. Maybe do it a few times on each side for a few minutes, and you'll notice that you'll start to feel more of like an opening in those hip joints, more of an opening in those psoas muscles, and not so much tension and tightness, all of that stress that you're holding in your hips. All right, so that's number 7. You guys, this is super simple, right? This is not complicated. This isn't rocket science. You don't need to go out and like buy a bunch of expensive equipment or have this extensive routine. These are super simple, super quick practices to help you mindfully release and discharge stress, tension, anxiety from your body that you may have been holding on to for a really long time. And there's so many different exercises that we can do, different practices and tools that we can have to help release stress and anxiety from our body. I teach so many others. You can probably find hundreds. But I think these are a very simple 7 to start, right? 7 different parts of your body, 7 different simple exercises. And as you just start to notice, like first start here, where in your body do you think you tend to hold stress and anxiety? What are you noticing, right? Is it your jaw? Is it your neck and shoulders? Is it your chest? Is it your gut? Is it your hips? And then start to do these daily maybe, right? These somatic practices, they feel like really small shifts. It feels really subtle sometimes when we're doing this nervous system work, but I'm promising you the power is in the consistency. And if you can consistently do these, man, maybe daily, maybe a couple times a day, maybe a few times a day, maybe morning and night, you're going to notice a big difference over time. You're going to look back in a few weeks and be like, oh my gosh, like I noticed that all of that pain I've been holding or feeling in my hips or in my neck or in my jaw is starting to dissipate as I'm learning how to release stress and anxiety from my body. And I think this is part of an overall lifestyle trend or what am I trying to say? Like I'm trying to say that this is a part of an overall lifestyle of nervous system regulation, right? We have to include other practices to bring regulation and safety to our body. We have to look at our boundaries. We have to look at what we do with our emotions. We have to look at our daily routines, what we're eating, all of these different things. But if you're noticing stress and tension in your body, these are great places to start to release some of that instead of continuing to hold on to it. And if you guys are interested in working with me one-on-one to learn how to regulate your nervous system, I have a couple one-on-one spots that I'm going to be opening up in a few weeks later this summer. So if this feels like a good time for you to get a handle on this, if you want to learn how to regulate your nervous system, if you want to do something about your anxiety or your overwhelm or your burnout, or you just know that you're storing a ton of stress and anxiety in your body and it's manifesting in physical symptoms or pain or tension, all of these things. If it feels like a good time for you to get a handle on this, I would encourage you, man, just go ahead and book a discovery call. There's a link in the show notes. It's a free 30-minute call. We'll just jump on Zoom together. You can tell me a little bit about what it is that you're noticing, what you're experiencing. I can tell you about one-on-one coaching. If I still have spots available, we can look at what that might look like. Otherwise, I can get you on a wait list and talk about maybe if one of my other programs might be a good fit for you. But I think that would be awesome for you to be able to take a stand against feeling how you've been feeling and start doing something about it with the guidance and with the accountability that comes with having a coach. All right. So that's what I've got for you guys. 7 ways to release stress and anxiety from your body. Start to take note. Where do you store stress and anxiety in your body? Where are you noticing it? Where does it hurt? Where do you feel tension? Where are you clenching? And then, do one of these exercises. If you're noticing a difference, I would love to hear about it. You can send me a DM at michellegrosser.coach on Instagram. You can shoot me an email, hello@michellegrosser.com. I always love hearing from you guys and hearing what seems to be working for you. All right, my friends, I love you guys so much. Take care. I'll talk to you soon.